In this video, I'm going to show you how to do pumping or Power SPT. Essentially, in this video, I'll take you through a guided pumping SPT session or Power SPT session, and I'll be doing it along with you so we can enjoy it together. For those of you that are new here, my name is Kaminski. I'm a two-time Olympic silver medalist in the sport of archery, and we're going to make this channel a great resource to all types of archery. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscription button and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is uploaded. I'd appreciate it. So sorry about a bit of lag time here uploading new videos to YouTube between the holidays being crazy, plus getting COVID, and finally now being mostly recovered, not fully recovered, but enough that I can stand in front of these bright lights and do some physical exertion without massive headaches. So I'm happy to be back at it, and I'm really excited to bring a whole bunch of new content and a lot different stuff in 2021. So I figured I might as well start off the year with another SPT video. The holding SPT or strength SPT video got really good comments, and people seem to be enjoying that one. Essentially, basically you're holding back the bow for a long period of time to build up endurance or strength. If you haven't seen that one yet, there'll be links in the description below, plus I'll put a card at the top there, so that way you can see that. And in this video, I'm going to do pumping SPT. Pumping or Power SPT is slightly different. There's not nearly as long of a hold, and essentially we'll be going from set up position to full draw and a slight hold before we go back to set up and go back to full draw, and we essentially go back and forth and do pumping SPT for a series of holds, and then we rest in between sets and do a certain amount of sets. So depending on your strength, depending on your abilities, you'll be doing more reps within the set and potentially more sets throughout the session to make it last a bit longer and to challenge you. Now, before I do anything like this one requires a bit more technical form, or at least an awareness within your shot cycle of certain positions of shooting. Now, in my form series, as well as this book here, Inside the Archer, by a teammate of mine as well as my coach, Kisik Lee, it goes through all of the steps and positioning of what setup position is, how to get to full draw, how to properly hold and go back down, and so on. So if you haven't seen those videos, there'll definitely be links in the description below to the forum series, and there'll be links to that book in the description below as well in case you're interested. All of the point of this is to just build your strength and power to be able to pull the bow back without very much effort at all, or at least you'll have less effort in the future. So the things that you will need in this video is your regular full-size rig. This is an Olympic style recurve with the stabilizers and everything on it. It's definitely better to do it with your full stabilizer system because then you're training the muscles exactly how your bow is built and balanced and set up for you. Because I'm in a relatively tight space here, I will be using my bare bow, which is the same draw weight roughly, give or take, but it does have a whole lot of added weight to it, so the mass weight is similar to what that bow is. You know, probably a little bit less, but pretty similar to it. So I'll still be building my strength with the actual draw weight, and as well as the mass weight, it'll replicate what I normally use. It's just a lot easier in this type of situation. I have a boom mic up here, plus, you know, I can almost with wingspan touch each wall here. My office is very long and very narrow, just built into the space that I could fit it in, so I'm pretty limited. I would like to use my Olympic style recurve, but I also like using this bare bow as well. You know, it works just fine and still has the same amount of draw weight. If you find that this is really, really easy for you, you can actually take a stretch band and put it over your bow, right where your knocking point would be, and kind of set it around the shelf area. Be careful of your rest, you don't want to bend that. And that'll add some draw weight. You know, the red type of stretch bands, the red TheraBands, will add about 10 pounds of draw weight. And once you get really, really strong, you can do that relatively easily and build strength a bit more efficiently as well. So I'm going to give you a quick description of how this actually works, and then I'll take you through a quick warm-up, and then we'll get right into doing Power SPT. Okay, so what Power SPT is, again, you go from set up position to full draw. You hold for anywhere between 3 to 5 seconds, give or take. I will give you an audible cue of, okay, pull, full draw, down, and you go back to set up, pull, hold, down, pull, and so on. And we'll do that a series of times. Now, when I lived at the Olympic Training Center, we did the holding SPT roughly 3 days a week. We did this Power SPT 1 to 2 days a week, and then we did another SPT called Flexibility SPT 1 day a week as well. I'll take you through that in another video after this one at some point. So just as a reference of how often to do this, if you're really serious about archery, you can integrate SPT into your daily training regimen and build a lot of strength in a very, very quick period of time compared to just shooting arrows. So while living at the Olympic Training Center, this pumping, the amount of pumps, or the amount of times you pulled the bow back basically, was a minimum of 7 times, a maximum of 10 times, and then we rested about 3 minutes in between each set. It sure seemed like a lot less time than 3 minutes because it is relatively tiresome. And then we would do that anywhere from 5 to 10 times depending on the training day. And in this video I'll take you through 5 sets of a minimum of 7, a maximum of 10 reps in each set. And then during our rest period, hopefully I'll find something interesting to talk about. So that way, we can kind of do this one-on-one, and you can do this along with me with your bow. And anytime throughout the year that you're interested in doing Pumping SPT or Power SPT, grab your bow and rewatch this video because it'll be a great resource for years and years to come. Now, of course, before doing any sort of strenuous exercise, things like that, I would highly recommend talking to your doctor. And, I'm just sharing my experience on how I did these things and did my best to prevent injury as much as possible. Everybody's different. Everybody's limitations are different. So if you have any concerns, I would absolutely recommend talking to your doctor. All right, so now before I get into this, because I haven't shot at all today, I'm going to do a bit of a warm-up. I'll take you through a quick one. It's relatively easy, and it'll help prepare your body getting ready to do this type of strenuous exercise. And I would highly recommend everyone warm up before you do any sort of physical exertion, especially with your full setup like this. Now, if you did just finish shooting, you're probably fine. You really don't need to do any sort of warm-up. And because normally when I would do it at the Olympic Training Center, I'd always do it after shooting, so I'd be warmed up, ready, good to go. So I'm going to start with some arm circles. I like to do these weighted sometimes, but due to the limited space that I've got, it's a bit tough. So I do very big, large arm circles, 5 back, 5 forward, and then I like to do 5 cross, and just basically making as big a circle as possible. Switch arms and do both sides. What this is doing is basically just bringing blood flow into the joint. I find that the most easy place that you can get any sort of injury while shooting is within the joint space of the shoulder. The shoulder has a ridiculous amount of muscles, something like, 17 or something attachment points within the shoulder joint. So it's pretty ridiculous as far as how many muscles are there. Some of them are very delicate and fragile as well. So I like to do just kind of open up my rib cage like this. It opens up my pecs coming back, and I get to open up the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between my ribs as I'm coming forward like this, just trying to warm up. A couple of twists. Again, bringing blood flow to the area, just kind of getting movement going, so that way you're ready to do this SPT. Another thing I love to do is passovers. I already did this in the other SPT video. Essentially what you want to do is grab it as wide apart as you can so you can comfortably pass this over your head and back and forth. The more narrow you go, the more stretch you'll feel. What you want to do is always have your elbows extended and locked like this, and you want to try to almost break the thing you're holding. A broomstick works. This is just a blowgun that I happen to have impulse bought years ago at the ATA show. Essentially what I'm trying to do is keep my shoulders as low as possible and then passing over, and you'll feel your pecs open up, and I'm trying to keep my head in a neutral position and go back and forth. And what this is doing now is breaking up what is called fascial adhesions. So your entire body has essentially like a sausage casing over all the muscles, and it's this really fine layer of fibers called fascia. And throughout your sleep and recovery and exercise, you do build up things called adhesions, where the fascia will actually adhere to the underlying muscle and actually can grow through it like a little spider web. And doing this type of stuff is totally just ripping all of those spider webs up. It's cleaning out the attic, and it's allowing you to move a whole lot better. Another thing I like to do, same position, and do circles. Again, arms straight, both arms straight, shoulders down and locked in a low position. I do circles this way, and as I'm coming up, I'm pulling down with this arm to bring that arm up, and I go the other way. And this is just super, super beneficial. It really, really helps get the blood flowing and will really prevent injury in the future. I'm gonna unplug the heater. It's getting a little warm in here now that I'm all warmed up. You need your finger tab. You don't need a finger sling. Another thing that could be a good idea is something called the shot trainer. This one here is from Archery. You can hook it on your elbow and hook it on the string, just as a bit of a safety, because you don't want to dry fire your bow if your fingers start getting tired. So I've got my bear bow here. It is a full weight bow. It's about 46 pounds-ish draw weight. I don't know what the mass weight is, but it feels pretty heavy to me. Because you want to make sure you get into your normal stance and get ready to shoot just like you're going to shoot. Obviously we're not shooting. I'm not going to do this with an arrow. I'm indoors here. I love using a full-length body mirror. They're super cheap at like a local department store. I do have an angled leaning against the wall, so you'll notice as I'm pulling the bow back, I will be angled at a slightly downward angle. It's just so I can see my own form in the mirror. A great opportunity to coach your own form, to get visual representation of what you're feeling going from setup to full draw, and how it looks is really, really helpful and beneficial to, trying to ingrain form, and it's absolutely a benefit. Okay, so I'll take you through, I'll guide you, and we'll basically get into actual SPT here. Power or pumping SPT specifically. So the cues again that I will be giving you is ready, set up, pull. You want to load, anchor, and transfer if you're using Coach Lee's method, just like I will be. We're gonna hold for 3 to 5 seconds. Then I will say down. You will go to set up. And then I will say pull, load, anchor, transfer, hold 3 to 5, down, pull. And then I'll say rest at the end of 10. Do your best to get to 7 reps each time. It is a tough type of exercise, and it will absolutely build lots of power and strength within your shot. Okay, so get ready. I'm gonna set my hook and my grip. Set up, pull, down, pull, down, pull, down, pull, 4, down, pull, 5, down, pull, 6, down, pull, 7, down, pull, 8, down, pull, 9, down, pull, and relax. Whew. I think I have a timer somewhere. Yeah, I got another phone in my pocket. So I got to bring a timer up. I should have had this ready. I'm sorry about this. I'm going to set it for a 3-minute rest period because it'll take me a few seconds to get this set up in between each set. So we've got 3 minutes counting down. So something that I really like to focus on while watching myself in the mirror is really trying to make sure that I'm watching my elbow move and make the first initial movement as I'm pulling back and coming around and behind me and coming up into anchor. Trying not to move my elbow a whole lot as I'm anchoring, and anchoring more with my hand, because then that way I'm really keeping the back tension that I've loaded with as I come up into anchor. Whew. It's not easy, it's tough, and I'm glad we're only doing 5 sets of this. I think it's a good way to start this off. Again, try to hit that 7 if you can. It's really, really important to get as much into this as possible. Doing this type of stuff is for your benefit as an archer. It's for your benefit to have a stronger platform to shoot from. It'll allow you to have more control. It'll allow you to be able to really control the bow and the movement of your muscles and your body position. And ultimately, more control means more accuracy, hopefully. I'm sorry if throughout this section here that is continuous, because I don't want to clip it and be unfair to you. I want to show you that I'm actually doing this with you. So please excuse me if I'm clearing my throat or sniffling a little. It's a little cool in this, and that's why I had the heater on. And plus, I'm still recovering from COVID, so there's still some lingering symptoms going on. But this isn't easy at all. And it is something at the Olympic Training Center that I do believe gave me massive power and strength benefits. Within a relatively short period of time, once I learned Coach Lee's method, I rapidly ramped up from a modest, 38-ish, 40-pound bow weight when I first moved out there to, 50 pounds within a year, essentially, because of a high volume of shooting, and doing holding and Power SPT was a huge, huge benefit. So something that you really, really need to make sure you do is after you come to anchor, you really need to make sure you try to transfer. Get into that physical step, that physical movement of really engaging with your back. Make sure all the tension is in your back that you can possibly have, and hold as steady as you possibly can. If anything, add a little bit to it and start to expand while at full draw instead of just holding. It'll make sure you maintain the position properly. Visually check and make sure you don't see your elbow creeping forward as we're holding. Shaking is normal. As you can see, this is the first set and I'm already shaking. It is a lot of work and it is a heavy workload to do this type of exercise. All right, so now we're done and we're gonna get ready. So get into position. This time I'm gonna point at you as best I can without hitting the microphone. So, get your stance set and everything. Ready? So set your hook and grip. Set up. Pull. 1. Hold. Down. Pull. Down. Pull. That's 3. Down. Pull. 4. Watch how I lead with my elbow as I pull back. Down. Pull. 5. Down. Pull. 6. Down. Pull. 7. Down. Pull. 8. Down. Pull. 9. Down. Pull. 10. Whew. I really should have stopped at 8, but I'm trying to do it for you guys to make it all the way. Let me start the timer again. So 3 minutes. Oh, well, I'm almost seeing stars. So this was always an extremely challenging thing while we were there. We being everybody that had come through the training program along with me. I mean, there was at any given time anywhere from 10 to 15 archers living out there full time, and we would all do this together. And I can tell you that doing it with somebody else and, working through this together with other people to support you, even having a coach watching you and encouraging you, makes a big difference. So if you're able to make it through these with a minimum of 7 correctly, I mean, this is tough work and you're doing a good job. If you're not quite there, push yourself. You can do it. Just really work through and try to challenge yourself, because I can tell you firsthand, if you're not doing something challenging, you won't really see a huge amount of benefit. You won't grow a ton. And in my opinion, I love the sport of archery and I liked competing. I like seeing progress because you can measure that with either bow weight or volume of arrows shot, or the amount of arrows you're shooting or the scores you're shooting. It's all really cool to be able to measure progress. So anyway, it's a lot more fun and enjoyable doing it with people. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody here to suffer. Enjoy this with me. But I'm glad that I'm producing this content for you to see how it's done and hopefully doing it along with me, because I don't know if any of it exists out there or not, but having somebody there to encourage you, especially right now, a lot of people are still dealing with lockdowns and stuff. So doing this is hopefully a welcome change of pace to a lot of people. Whew. we'll see how far I can get on this one, and these next few I may put the shop trainer on just for a bit of safety. But like I said, I'm going to push myself as much as I can. I'd like to get back in shooting shape, and it's about time to shake the cobwebs off from not just shooting, but physical training in general, because I feel better, and I got to get back to it someday. Got to get back up on that horse. So I'm glad to be doing it here, and hopefully it proves to be some entertainment and helpful for everybody. So water breaks help. I'm going to take one. We've got about 5 seconds, but we'll extend this one. It's a 3 to 5 minute wait, so if we go a touch longer, it's not a big deal. Okay. This one I'll point this direction for you to see. And get ready. Hook and grip. Set up. Pull. 1. Down, pull. 2. Down, pull. 3. Down, pull. 4. Down, pull. 5. Really try to get your barrel of the gun set. Down, pull. 6. I'm really focusing on my alignment. Down, pull. 7. Down, pull. 8. Down, pull. 9. Down, pull. 10. Relax. Okay, so even I am human. And the reason I stopped, and the reason anyone should always stop in any kind of SPT, mostly in holding and power here, because you won't really have this challenge through the flexibility SPT, which we'll do in the future. The reason you should let down is when you're not maintaining form. You don't want to build strength or power or muscle memory or wrapping myelin, training your brain, training your body in the wrong way. You do not want to train improperly, because if you are, then you're not training what is consistent and what should be consistent for you. So really making sure that you're maintaining your form is really, really, really important. I'm not just going for the strength. I'm not just going for the power. I'm going for the exact execution of the form that I want to use. And it's very important, and it's very valuable to do that. So I was starting to lose my alignment and a few other things while I was at full draw on that 8th pull. And I said, all right, I'm going to try for the 9th. And it got a bit squirrely there. So instead of hurting myself, instead of training the wrong form and tearing down my form instead of building it up, I decided to let down. And I believe that that is smart. You should do that. Limit, go to your limits, do what you can, and listen to your body. It's really important. So, as you can tell, I'm putting a bit of a safety strap on here so I don't end up compromising my bow in case the fingers slip. It's absolutely okay to know your limits and to abide by them. Water is extremely important. If you're going to do any sort of physical training, even though this is just archery, this is tough with my bow. It's probably tough with your bow too. You really need to make sure you hydrate properly. It's a very common thing out there that a lot of people miss. They miss on their hydration. So, as you can tell, this is a rather large Yeti. I thought it was overkill at the beginning, and then I realized it's way nicer because I don't have to go refill it often. And if I drink 2 of these a day, I know that I've got more than enough hydration. This is like a half a gallon in itself here. So, I always recommend people that I'm working with at least 2 liters to 3 liters a day is a good starting point. You may need more in a hot, sweaty environment. or you know, not. But all right. Can't remember how many we did. I think that was the third one. So we got 2 left. Yeah, that was the third one. So we've got 2 left here. Whew, I'm fatigued already. Okay, so I'm going to point in the mirror and maybe talk you through what I'm looking at as much as I can with the time that we have. Get ready. Set up. Pull. Down. Pull. So rotating like this, watching yourself in the mirror, down, pull, is really important because then I can check my alignment. Down, pull, check my movement. Down, pull. I think that's 5. Down, pull, checking my fingers to make sure my hook's good. Down, pull. This is 7. Down, pull. 8. Down, pull. 9. Down, pull. And 10. Rest. Okay. Again, know your limits. That one was 8 for me. Whew. All right, start the timer. Got another 3 minutes. Get you some water. So I really feel in this when I'm starting to struggle. There's a few limitations that I feel. I can feel my back really, really engaging down low. My fingers are quite, really squeezing the string as hard as I possibly can so I don't slip out. But I feel a bit of tension up here in like my bicep, probably not bicep attachment or the pec minor area. So I probably need to do a bit of stretching, get some work in here to make sure I get that all loosened up. So it feels a bit tight and it's trying to pull me in this position. As you can see, when I go from full draw to set, I also move my shoulders a little bit and kind of break my alignment a little. 2 reasons that I do that. One is to protect the shoulder a little bit, and then 2, to really, really over-exaggerate that rotation to really pull the bow back and make sure I'm driving with rotational force instead of linear force. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Part of that limitation is because I feel tight here. And getting that locked barrel of the gun at full draw is starting to become challenging. So my bow arm's, not as strong as it used to be. And doing this type of stuff, doing these movements from setup to full draw and back and forth is going to show me a bit of what I'm dealing with as far as limitation goes. And now that I'm sitting here and relaxing a little bit more, I'm starting to feel the tightness creep into my pec muscles and come back. So I'm really going to work on some pec flexibility over the next couple weeks, do a bit more stretches, and really try my best to open the pecs up quite a bit. We live in a world where we are on our phones, on our computers, reading a book, and it's all forward. And, that leads to pec tightness, neck tightness, things like that. And I definitely haven't doing my job of keeping that open. So the passovers are a good start, and working through some range of motion is what I'm going to be working on. Outside of that, some other things I know are really strong. I can feel my bow hand doesn't want to change position. It's not slipping on the grip. So I'm really, really happy about that. Whew. My anchor feels pretty good. I feel that my elbow is in a good position around and behind me. All those things feel really, really good, but definitely limited here. And I'm going to be sore in the backside. So I'm definitely going to make sure that I recover as best as I can. So that way I'm good to go and I don't feel too sore over the next few days. All right, so we're just about out of time here. This is the 5th set. So this is our last one. So we can at least rest easy knowing that we don't have any more after this one. So do your best to try to hit 10 if you can, and really, really push yourself to get to 7 if you're struggling. I'm going to do this last one pointing at you again. Whew. And it's going to be challenging, but we're going to do it together. All right, so get ready. Get your stance set, hook and grip. Set up. Pull. Transfer, hold, 1. Down, pull. 2, lock it in. Down, pull. 3, lock it in. Down, pull. 4, down, pull. 5, down, pull. 6, down, pull. 7, down, pull. 8, down, pull. 9, down, pull. Relax. Whoa, that was 10. I think I may have lost a little bit of my range of motion on that last one and not in the best of alignment, but I pushed myself. I wanted to make 10 with you guys. Oh. As you can see, this type of SPT is a workout. It is strenuous. It will build power. You will get stronger this way, absolutely. Now, again, drink as much water as you possibly can. It's really important. After this, I'm actually going to go inside and make myself a bit of a recovery drink. So what I like to do is I like to take a really good whey protein. I actually used unflavored whey isolate. And then I mix in some dark cocoa powder that's unsweetened, just a little bit. Some powdered peanut butter. A little bit of sugar, like a tablespoon of sugar, because it really helps replenish the glycogen in my muscles. Whew. And I go for about 25 grams of protein is what I'm shooting for recovery, help rebuild my muscles so I'm not too sore. I'm somebody that deals with delayed onset muscle soreness, which is short for or long for DOMS. So that means 2 days from now I'm gonna be hurting. Well, maybe not hurting, but it'll be challenging. And this is something that I dealt with while living at the Olympic Training Center, and something that you can deal with too, especially if you're going to do this type of stuff, pumping or holding SPT, and any sort of physical training as well. I've had a lot of people ask me, how do I deal with it? And what is my opinion on it? Because when you get sore, your day of training the next day or the day after, if you have DOMS like I do, it's challenging. You don't feel ideal. You don't feel optimal. You're a little off, and it's a bit challenging to get into position. So how do I handle that? Well, good recovery, good fueling, very, very important and beneficial. I'll do a video in the future on what I did with really managing inflammation and soreness. That'll come in a little bit. But in addition to that, you can't avoid the soreness, and it's part of training. It's part of getting better. It's part of challenging yourself. So the way that you can deal with it is use it to help train yourself while shooting. So if you're sore, train through that. Try to push yourself to maintain proper form and technique. Stay focused on yourself and not on the target, and work through it. Because when you travel, if you ever compete and you ever travel, I guarantee you when I flew 30 hours all the way across the world to a 12-hour time zone change from where I am here into Shanghai, I did not feel good there either. You can't get there early enough to acclimate and get used to it. It's just too long of a travel time, and there's too many tournaments leading up to and following it, so you can't do that. So what you got to do is deal with it better than the next guy. And if you're not used to feeling well, you're not used to feeling in ideal conditions as far as your body goes, it's going to affect your shooting. So putting yourself in this situation on purpose, especially in this off season, especially while there is no tournaments for the foreseeable future in many, many areas across the world, doing this type of stuff is a huge benefit. And if you use it to your advantage and use that soreness to your advantage and do your best to shoot well as you can through that next few training sessions while you're sore, is a really, really good training aid in my opinion. So thanks for doing Pumping SPT with me. Hopefully it worked out quite well for you. I didn't define SPT, but after this one I can absolutely say it is severe physical torture, despite what all the books say of specific physical training. It's tough, but it's worth it. I will get stronger because of it, and I'll be able to shoot more arrows and higher scores later on because of the work I'm doing now. So thanks for doing it with me, and please come back and watch this again and challenge yourself from time to time, because you will see benefit, and overall you'll be a healthier, happier human. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, consider hitting the subscription button and the notification bell, as well as the like button. I would appreciate it. Also, please consider supporting my channel. If you head to my website, jakekaminski.com, there'll be info and links on Patreon, apparel, books, and equipment sales, PayPal donate button, a P.O. box to send things to, and above all else, please share this video because there's no better advertising than word of mouth.